your practicals? Everyone? Yes, Rao Garu is always. How about others? In progress? That is expected, Akhil. Okay, so I understand everyone's saying in progress, but it's up to you. Okay, so most of the people have completed the practical. Some people they said working in progress, but please take some time and then complete your practicals. Okay, it's on you, not on me. All right, so today let's go with the CLI. Okay. So let me share my screen. Guys, can you please confirm? Can you see my screen and can you hear me well? All right. Okay. So we know that we can access AWS in two ways. Remember, we can access AWS in two ways. What are those two ways? Console access and then programmatic access. We can say console access, which is your GUI, graphical user interface, right? And then we have programmatic access, which is your CLI, correct? So how do you log into the console? Using, yes, username and then password. Whereas programmatically, how you access? Using, yes, access key and secret key. Which one? Access key and secret key. Okay, till now we have seen on the console side. So we open the AWS console and we click that, and this based on the service we go and do it. So today, let's see how we can work on the CLI, command line interface. So, so AWS, you know very well, on EC2 instance, we need to install this CLI software, correct? Did we learn this in our last previous lectures, right? So AWS CLI is just a software. What is that? AWS CLI is a software. So wherever you want to install this, wherever you want to access AWS CLI, you need to install that software and then access AWS CLI, correct? Yes. So now, if I go to my command prompt in my Windows, okay, in Windows, can I run AWS commands directly here? No. What I need to install first? AWS CLI and so AWS CLI you can install it on the Windows also. AWS CLI you can install it on the Linux also. So now I don't know whether it has been there is installation happened or not. AWS 1 is a version. Come on. AWS is already installed. Do you see this? AWS CLI is there already, right? So on this machine, AWS CLI already got installed. And if you ask me, sir, how do we install AWS CLI on Windows machine? So there is a small package. AWS CLI can be installed on Windows and Linux as well. First, we need to learn that. So can it be installed on Windows and can it be installed on the Linux also? Yes. For Windows, you need to install something. You need to download called awscli.msi file. What is that file that you need to download and install? AWS CLI.msi file. But for Linux, so use Linux commands to install AWS CLI. So guys, if I go to internet, see here, and then AWS CLI download for Windows. Let's go to the first one. Let's see where is that installer. So if it is on Linux, this is the 3 commands that you need to execute it. So let's say for Windows. Do you see? Expand Windows. And do you see this MSI file? Right? So you need to download this MSI file, guys. So if you just take this and then copy it and then put it here. Do you see on the bottom? AWS CLI got downloaded. And once you click on open, next, finish it. Okay. So this is how you install it on Windows machine. Easy. Download it and run the file. So automatically you will get the AWS will be installed. Is it clear on Windows? On Windows, it is very simple. So you download the file and then run that execute that file, open that file, click on next, and then finish it. But how do we do it on the Linux machine? We'll see. So let me take an example. This is our AWS. And this is our laptop. This is a laptop. This is your Windows laptop. Sir, Windows laptop. Okay. So on Windows laptop, how do you access AWS CLI? So you need to install AWS CLI on your Windows laptop, correct? That we know. And from your Windows laptop, how you are connecting to AWS? There is one way how you are connecting through the console. Yes or no? From your laptop, you are opening AWS console, right? And then you are giving username and then password to log in, correct? Yes or no, guys? Okay. And you're opening the browser. And there is also another way how you can access AWS, that is through CLI. So from your laptop, guys, you can open the browser and access AWS console. And also you can go open your terminal here and then connect to the AWS. That is CLI. CLI meaning what? Command line or command. Open your command prompt. This one. Go to CMD, open your command prompt, and from here AWS, and you write the commands. We'll do. Okay. First, let's understand the theory part. Understood? Multiple ways. One is from your laptop. Basically, from your laptop, you are connecting to the AWS. From your laptop, you can use the browser and connect to AWS. Same from your laptop, you can connect to the CLI to AWS. Through browser, we know. AWS CLI, how do we, from the AWS console, how do we access? We know. Through CLI, what we need to do? What we need to install? AWS CLI, you need to install and then configure it. How to configure, I'll tell. So now let us go ahead and launch one EC2 instance here. Let us go ahead and launch one EC2 instance. And this is your Linux EC2 instance. Can we go and launch one Linux EC2 instance in AWS? Because we need to install AWS CLI on the Linux, correct? So we'll launch AWS CLI and then here we'll go and install AWS CLI on Linux. How do we install? We'll see. And now, guys, from console, we authenticate using username and password. But through CLI, first of all, how do we authenticate? Using access keys and then secret keys. So we need to configure the keys here. Yes or no? we need to configure the keys. Tell me, is this a good way of configuring the keys on your machine? No. This is good way or bad way? Bad way. Okay. Configuring keys on the instance is bad way. Why it is bad way? Why it is bad way? Because the keys are stored locally on the EC2 instance. Keys are stored locally on the EC2 instance. That is why if someone has logged into the EC2 instance, anyone can take your keys only, Rose. Anyone can take your keys and then they can misuse it. So is it recommended to configure the keys on your EC2 instance? No. What is a good way then? Excellent. What is it you need to use? Role. So we launch another Linux EC2 instance. Okay. And then we need to install AWS CLI there. And then do we need to configure the keys in this? Do we need to configure the keys here? Do you need to configure the keys here? In this case, answer is no. Instead of that, what we need to create? IAM role we need to create. And from this EC2 instance, what kind of services that you want to access, that kind of permissions you need to attach to the role, correct? Roles in action we'll see now. So let's say I want to use EC2 in S3. And can we attach that role to this EC2 instance here now? Yes. This is a good way. Yes, that is a good way. Understood? Everyone clear? There is a question, sir, roles and users are free or not? What do you say? IAM users, IAM roles are free or charged? It's free. IAM service is completely free, no? So now we will go and here, what is the first way? First one is a bad way. Bad way meaning how do we do it? Yes, launch EC2 instance. Launch EC2 instance. And what we need to do? And install AWS CLI. Configure keys, right? And execute few sample commands. Correct? That is the bad way that we're gonna do. What's a good way, Nana? Yes. Good way is we'll go and launch EC2 instance and install AWS CLI. After that, should we configure the keys? Should we configure the keys? No. What you need to do? Attach a role to the EC2 instance and run or execute few sample commands. Do you all understood? Do you all understood how there are different multiple ways to access AWS through AWS CLI? One is from your laptop. Another one is you can launch an EC2 instance. From there we can access it. So in launching the EC2 instance, there are two ways. One is good way and bad way. So what I'm gonna do is I'll show you the good. I'll show you the bad way. So we launch one Linux EC2 instance. See here, we launch one Linux EC2 instance and we'll install AWS CLI. We configure the keys and we'll run some sample commands. That is good way or bad way? Bad way. And once I show you the bad way, and good way is even more simple. We launch the EC2 instance, we'll install AWS CLI. Should we configure the keys? Attach the roles. Do you know how to create the roles? Attach it and then run the sample commands. Clear? But how to configure the keys? Roles we can attach, but we need to know how to configure the keys, no? So write down these commands. First, after install AWS CLI, I'll show you how to install it. And the first command that you need to give is AWS configure. What is the first command that you should give? AWS configure. Once you provide this AWS configure, it will ask, what? Give me your access key, give me your secret key. Do we have our access keys and secret keys with us? We can go and get the access keys and secret keys from IAM. After that, it will ask, Babu, which region that you want to use? Which region? Mumbai, AP minus South minus 1 we need to give. And then it will ask output. How does the output look like? There are three ways, guys. One is table format or JSON format or XML format. Which is the best format for you? Table format. Because whenever you execute any command is in table format, it will show the output. You can easily understand. If you see the JSON, you cannot understand. If you XML, you cannot even understand. So which is the best way to go with the output? Table. Okay. And I told you that keys are stored somewhere in EC2 instance. You know where? CD. In root folder, there is a hidden directory called .aws. I'll show you. So that is a place where inside this, there is a file called credentials, cat credentials. If you do, you can see the keys. Okay, ma. So what we're going to do now as a practical, we'll go and launch one EC2 instance and install AWS CLI and configure the keys and run the sample commands. That is one task. Second task is same, launch an EC2 instance, install AWS CLI, attach the roles. That is another task. And for you, the task would be, can you install it on Windows machine on your laptop? I just downloaded the file now, .msv. Download it and then open the command prompt and configure it. I'll show you how to configure it. 3 tasks on CLI. Okay, first task, let's do it. Okay. Is it clear, guys? Everyone till here? The task should be clear first. Online. Is it clear, CC? Nice. So let's go ahead and then launch the instance. So can I call it as CLI demo? Give some name, browse, and which one? Our Red Hat. Select our Red Hat. Come down. T2 micro is fine, and select the 6 p.m. batch. Edit. Select 1A. Existing security group. Default. And then go ahead and then launch. So EC2 instance is getting launched. And what do? We go ahead and then log into the EC2 instance and install AWS CLI. So we need to have the commands to install AWS CLI. So this is all from Windows. The first one is related to Linux. Do you see? Are we using x86 or ARM? So select x86. These are only 3 commands that we need to run. So what is the first one is curl command. Curl, this is the URL that you are downloading the zip file in your machine. And unzip your AWS CLI.zip file. And then there is a file called install. Run that installer. Automatically AWS will install. So meanwhile, let's check the security groups. Inbound rows, edit inbound rows. Which one we need to add? SSH we need to add. So let's copy it, open putty. Appearance, change it to a bigger one. Okay, what is that? EC2 minus user and then sudo minus yes. Guys, so we are on the machine. What is the first thing that we need to do? First of all, if I do AWS minus version, do we have AWS installed here? No. Do you see what is the what you got? AWS command not found. So should we go and install it? How? Go to that URL. Guys, I'm giving this URL to you. Take it and copy the first line and then run it. So what is it doing? It is downloading the zip file. If I do ls, the zip file got downloaded. That is a zip file. What we need to do? We need to unzip it. So what's the command? Unzip AWS. This guy, same. You just write unzip and AWS that. But the thing is here, unzip, you will get this error. Unzip command not found. That meaning, do we have unzip package here? So we need to install. What is the command to install? Yum install -y. What is that? Unzip. Installed. Okay now? So what we need to do now? Unzip AWS CLI zipper. Unzip it. Done. If I do ls, that the folder got created, AWS folder got created. Now what is the command? So go there and finally sudo this one. Install. In previously, we used to do so many steps, but now it has become very easy. Do you see this here? Where is that AWS got installed? Under USR local bin AWS. Guys, you can directly use like this, minus version. AWS is installed. Either you can go to directly to this bin folder and run just AWS minus version. Okay, anything is fine. Or can you also run like this also? With full path, USR local bin AWS minus version. You can see it here. Everyone understood how to install AWS CLI? Yes. And now, what we need to do now? We need to configure the keys. What is the command to configure? AWS configure. Does it will identify AWS? No, right? So we need to use a full path. AWS, what we need to do? Configure. And it is asking for the access key. So from where do we get the access key? So we need to go to IAM. Go to users. Go to here. Second, can you create your own keys? Yes, create keys. I am using for CLI. Next, and then create. This is my access key. Paste. And it is asking for secret key. Copy it and then paste. Enter. It is asking for region. Which one? AP South -1. Output. Table format. Configured. Understood how to configure it? And now from here we can run the sample commands. But I told you these keys are now stored in EC2 instance where go to CD, right? Go to your root directory /AWS. If we do ls, do you see credentials? Just do cat credentials. Do you see that keys? Access keys and secret keys are clearly visible. Is it recommended to do like this? Not at all recommended. Okay. So now I'll clear this. So what we need to do from here, let's go and try to execute some sample commands. Okay. So which is a service that you like most? Which is a service that you like most in AWS? No, UPC is not done yet, no. EC2? Huh? So EC2 is the one, right? EC2 and S3. Okay, we'll take these two. Is it possible to run all the commands for all services? No. I'll just show you few sample commands and you can do it. So let's go to EC2. Okay, now how many steps are there to launch an EC2 instance? 7 steps. So many configuration we did. Can we launch an EC2 instance in the command line with simple one command? Can we go and launch? Okay, so let's go and launch that EC2. For that, guys, I have a file created for you. I have a sample commands here. Okay. I'll share this to you. You can run the sample commands. But see here, this is the first command used to launch your EC2 instances. In certification question, guys, in certifications, they don't ask the complete command. They will just ask, see, everything is starting with AWS. Which service? EC2 service. And to launch an EC2 instance, what is the command that it is using? Run minus instances. This is the one you should remember. So they will ask, what is the command to launch an EC2 instance? Run minus instances. And rest everything are all parameters. So to launch an EC2 instance, we need to select the image. In console, we select the image, right? You select, so that part you have to give the image ID. How do you get your image ID? Do you know? How do you get your image ID? So in EC2, if you are going and launching the EC2 instance, whichever, so if you go and create your own image, do you have image ID? Yes. And how do you get image ID for your Red Hat? See, click on browse. Freeware. Do you see this here? What is this? That is the image ID. So you can use AWS provided image also, or you can use your own image also. You can create your own image. Can you launch an EC2 instance on that image? Yes. So I can take this B2, right? This one, B02, and I put it here. Can I put it like this? Image ID. And what are the things? Guys, while launching the EC2 instance, there are few mandatory things, few optional things. All parameters, correct? So whichever is mandatory, you mention it. Optional, it's just leave it default. But can you mention all this thing? You can. If you have a requirement, you can mention. But here I'm just mentioning count. How many EC2 instances that you want to launch? 1. Which instance type? T2 micro. What is the key pair that you need to attach? 6 PM. What is the security group? This is security group ID, default security group. So do you know how to get the default security group ID? It's simple, no? Where it is? Go here. Go to security groups, select it. Do you see the security group ID? Everything in the CLI, you need to go with the IDs only. So you just mention the security group and subnet ID. Guys, subnet, when you're launching the EC2 instance, see here, what are the things it contains? You can give the tag, but is it mandatory? No, it's optional. So, but selecting image is mandatory. I selected the image. Instance type is mandatory. Key pair is mandatory, required, right? So here, VPC, all these things will go default. But subnet, can we provide the subnet? Yes. Which subnet? 1A. Do you see this here? Subnet ID, you got it? Subnet -A6C089C6. So if at all you want to that subnet, can you put that subnet here? And this subnet A91, which one is that? The second one, 1B. Do you see this? So if you want to have your EC2 instance in any subnet, specifically mention the subnet. Is there anything else? Security group, I have mentioned default. Rest everything can be default. Yes, no, it's not mandatory, no, to mention it. So now by default, it is taking 8 GB. But here in the parameters, if you want to have volume as 100 GB, you need to mention the volume parameter here. So based on the requirement, you have to. And if you have a question, sir, how do we know what kind of parameter that I need to give? So guys, everyone, what they do is there is a launch EC2 instance using launch EC2 instance CLI. Do you see run minus instances? So you have the command reference available right from the AWS. If you go here, do you see this? Run minus instances. How many are there? Parameters. These many parameters are there. So can you go and pick up your own required one? Yes. Like how we have used image ID, how we have used instance type. Can you go as a key name? If you want monitoring value, enable it. Security groups. If it is one security group, so security group ID, you can put user data also. See? So whatever the parameters that you need to select it here. If you come down, there will be an example. You can copy that example and then use it. So these are all instance types listed. Down. Such a big one. Do you see? Automate. Do you see the example? To launch an instance, AWS EC2 run minus instances, give image ID, instance type, key pair. That's it. Rest are all default. So do you remember all these things? No need. So the one you need to remember only is run minus instances. Everyone understood, guys? So should I go and copy this and then run this command? Can I run this command here? Yes, copy it. So if I just execute it, as I have given as a table format, do you see this? Table format, easily visible and understandable, right? So if you come down, do you see this here? So when it is attached, what is the security group it has? What's the private IP it has? So this is a private IP that you got. So everything you will get it here. So if I go to the EC2 console, so that meaning it will be launched, one EC2 instance is launched now. If I refresh it, do you see this? Second EC2 instance got launched. See how fast and easy to launch an EC2 instance from CLI. If you have the commands, execute it and launch. Can you launch 100 EC2 instances also like this? Just count, put 100, simple. But don't launch. Okay. Okay, now do you all understood how to launch? So like this, whatever you want to do it on this through CLI, you have the command reference, get the command, modify it and run it. So now do you see this here? What is the command to stop EC2 instances? Stop minus. So by running this command, can I go and stop that EC2 instance from the CLI? Yes. To stop the EC2 instance, we need to have instance ID, no? So can we go and get the instance ID of that EC2 instance? This is the instance ID. This is the instance ID. Copy it and then put it here and take this and execute this. It was running. Now it is, what is the status? Stopping. So if I go and see it here, do you see it is running? Now if refresh this, you can run it from the CLI. You can start instance, stop instance, terminate, everything you can do. Okay. So if you want to start instance, start minus instances, you need to put the instance ID. Can you put n number of, can you give the space and put another instance ID also? Yes, you can put multiple things. And what is the command to terminate? Okay. Terminate. So this is what terminate minus instances meaning you need to terminate it. Guys, remember, either you can go ahead and then use the CLI like this, but mostly CLI commands will be used in your scripts. So the script will be executed in your EC2 instance only, no? Yes or no? Okay. So if you want to get the IP address of your EC2 instance through CLI, I told you that one URL I told you. What is that URL? 169.254.169.254/latest/meta minus data. Remember, if using that, I'll show you now. Using that, you can retrieve the IP address or instance ID, whatever you want to get, you can retrieve it from there. Okay, Tanmay. Okay, tell me what is this doing? Creating tag for that EC2 instance. So we need to modify the instance ID, no? Okay, this is the instance ID. I'm putting it. See, do we have any tag to the EC2 instance? No tag. Should I go and put the tag now? Okay, if I refresh this, do you see this? Got it? Tell me what is this doing? Clearly. Yes, it is creating volume of size 10 GB in Mumbai, in which availability zone? 1A available, in which type? GP2 type. Generally, we go and create additional volumes, no? From CLI, this is where you need to go and create a volumes. And what is this next one? This one? So if you want to attach the volume to the EC2 instance, you need to have volume ID and you need to have a instance ID. And you need to give the device name, no? If it's root, it is /dev/sda1. If not, yes. This one? This one? Describe key pairs. How many key pairs you have, you can get to know. It is very funny if I do it one by one like this, you can do it. So describe key pairs. If I do describe key pairs, so how many key pairs I have, it will be, okay, there is a, okay. So, and then this is terminate. And this one, guys? Yes, it is creating the image from this instance. And the name is called dev AMI and the description. So generally we go and create an AMI now from the console, but from here it is used to create the AMIs. Deregister meaning deleting the AMI. This one, deleting the snapshot. Can you create the snapshot also? Yes. Got it? And then here you have, this is the URL that I was talking about, guys. So if I go ahead and clear this, if I use this URL, I get these many parameters. Let's say, guys, for example, and many people are asking, in real time, we'll use AWS console or CLI. Mostly, we'll go with the console, but we can go with the CLI also for the development and automation purpose. Okay, so those who are not developers, they go with the console. Those who are developers, they go with the CLI because they love to do it very fast. Developers like fast. They don't want to spend the time. They don't want to write. They want fatafat. I don't want to go and launch multiple things. They'll write one command and then enter if they like development. So let's say, for example, you have these many EC2 instances. I'm giving an example. See, you have these many EC2 instances. And I have one script here outside. And I want to install something. Guys, can I go and put the script here? Can I run the script here? Yes. And how do I get the details of this EC2 instance in my script? Can you use this URL and then get the details? See, curl HTTP 169.254.169.254 latest/meta minus data. Let's say I want to know the IP address of this machine. Do you see this here? Local IPv4. You put local IPv4. And do you see the IP address? Private IP? You got it? You got that private IP? And you want public IP. Where is that? A public IPv4. You put at the end. Do you got the public IP of this machine? So using this URL, you can get that information of your EC2 instance. So in your real time, you can write nice script and retrieve all the information of the EC2 instance using that curl command and pass it in your script. Okay. Nice. So that is few examples on EC2. Let's say, for example, now, did I told you how to create a load balancer from CLI? I have been told, but do I need to tell that? No need. So if at all you have a requirement to create a load balancer, how do you do that? Go to Google and then create AWS load balancer CLI. Go there. Do you see create load balancer? Come down. These are all the parameters. Do you know from the console how to create a load balancer? Remember, click on create load balancer. And which type of load balancer? Application load balancer. Then you will go and select the listeners, schema, internet facing, whichever, and select the subnets and select the availability zones. Next, and select the security group. Next, create a target group. Everything you have it, right? So if you go here, if you come down, there will be syntax. Do you see this? Can you take this, guys, everyone? Do you see this here? Can you take this an example and modify it accordingly to your requirement? AWS ELB. What is the load balance to create a load balancer? Yes, of course, you can use ChatGPT also. You can use, instead of going and searching in Google, can use ChatGPT also latestly. You can use ChatGPT and then just say how to create a load balancer through CLI. It will give the steps. Same steps only it will give. Okay, so load balancer is this name. Listeners, which type? HTTP on port number 80. And which subnet? Select this subnet. And which secret group? This secret group. Can you go and create it? Yes. By going like this, you take the command, modify it accordingly based on requirement, and use it. Is it clear, guys? Everyone? Should I take one sample S3 commands also? Okay. So should I go and create one S3 bucket from here through CLI? Hey, remember in S3, there is a URI. Remember I said URI. I told S3:/ is there. I told you that will be used in CLI. Create one subnet or any? I didn't understand your question. Please put it properly. Can you help me? Create one subnet or any? Okay. Can you create your own subnet also? If you know how to create it through CLI, you can do it. But do you know, did I teach you how to create a subnet till now? No. In which section we'll do that? VPC. Where there in VPC, I'll show you how to create. But can you create a subnet also through the CLI? Everything you can do it. Okay. So what is the command to create? To see? And instead of EC2, we need to give S3. S3. To create a bucket, what is the command? MB. What is that? Make bucket. Oh, you can go with any subnet, Mishra. In the load balancer example you are saying. Is it correct? In the load, okay. In the load balance, okay, guys, in the load balance, did I close that or opened? In the load balance subnet, it is asking for the subnet here. Guys, when you're creating a load balancer, it will ask, no? Selecting the subnet 1A, 1B, 1C. Here, Mishra is asking, what is the example? Can create one subnet or any? Is it recommended to create a subnet while creating the load balancer? No, existing one, you need to select it. So you can select either 1A, 1B, or 1C. Select all or 1A, 1B, you can select. Okay, MB, make bucket. And then guys, put your URI S3:/ 6 PM -test -demo. All right. And in which region? -- region AP minus south minus 1. Can I go and create it like this? Create an S3 bucket? Yes, create it. See, bucket got created. If I go to console S3, and you can see one S3 bucket got created. Do you see this? So everything, guys, everything you can do it from the CLI. Okay, now you tell me, what is this doing? Move. Move from where to where? You are moving test.txt to S3. Your test.txt is where? In your local. So can I say that uploading this test.txt to S3 bucket? That is nothing but uploading to S3? Yes. This one. Remember, if you don't have anything before S3 colon, that is local. If you have S3, that meaning it is S3. Tell me this, what is this doing? You are moving the object from one bucket to another bucket. This one. Local. That's nothing but download. Download. You are downloading it, correct? Simple. So, okay. And how about this? Where to where? You are moving from S3 bucket to, you see dot. Dot is nothing but your current directory in your local. So, and you might be having so many subfolders inside it. So if you want to download all your subfolders, you need to use recursive. What you need to use? Recursive. In Linux, you have -r, no? Similarly here, you have recursive. Sir, can we move the object from one bucket to another bucket? Yes, Gopi. This one. You can move it. Yes, you can. And tell me this. So you are moving the entire bucket to S3 except JPG files. Dot meaning your current working directory. Yes. Guys, like this, I have listed so many commands. This is one is to list your bucket. This is your list your objects. This one is list your all entire objects and subfolders. This one is used to retrieve the size of your bucket. And I have given few things, copying local file to S3. You can practice all these things here. And RB meaning here, remove bucket. Can I go ahead and delete this bucket now? S3 RB, this bucket, minus force. Generally, first we need to empty the bucket and then delete it, correct? If you use minus force here from CLI, one shot, it will be deleted everything. But in C, for deleting the bucket in console, we need to go empty, click on it, delete this. We need to do so many things. But here, only once. Fasak. So guys, you can sync. Sync is nothing but you can sync from your directory, local directory to S3 bucket to local. And also you can set up your website also using the URL, using the CLI commands. So what I mean to say is here, I have given few examples of AWS, EC2 and S3. Like this, if you have a requirement to create anything on the CLI, just go to Google and then get the commands, modify it accordingly and run it. And can you use the CLI commands also in your script? Yes, you can. If you are a developer, so in your .NET, your Java, or wherever you have, you can include this these lines, because if you are using Java, you can download Java SDK. If you are using .NET SDK, right? Download your software development kits so that these commands will be known to your .NET framework. And then you can run the commands. Through development, you can do it. Through personally, you can automate it. Writing the script also, you can do it. So now you understood, right? The CLI, how does it work and how to configure and how to do it? Okay, excellent. So is this clear till here, everyone? Now I showed you the bad way. Can you do it the good way? It is even more simpler. What is a good way? Simple. Launch an EC2 instance, install AWS CLI. I gave the link. And then instead of configuring the keys, what you need to do? Create a role. Do you know how to create a role? And what kind of permissions that you want to give to the role? EC2 and S3. But if you want to do something else also, attach it. And can you attach the IAM role to the EC2 instance? Do you know how to attach it? Remember, here you have it. Go to S3, go to EC2, select this, and here in security, modify IAM role. And click on this, and the role which you have created, select this and update it. And then no need to configure the keys, run your direct CLI commands. And also, you are doing it on EC2 instances. You have your own laptop, right? In your laptop, I told you how to install AWS CLI. Can you open your command prompt on your laptop? Can you open command prompt on your laptop? From here also, can you run AWS commands? Yes. But first of all, what you need to do? AWS configure you need to do. From your local laptop. In your local laptop, is it possible to attach roles to your local laptop? No way, right? So you need to configure the keys on your local laptop and then do it. Will you able to do this? There is a question. Sir, can we attach roles to groups too? For groups, you created a groups. Anywhere did you saw roles to the groups? Answer is no. Package if AWS is not there. What is that? Mishra, I am seeing your questions. My humble request, please put your question clearly and whom you are asking. Mia, Adarsa, or Sharifa, Shashia, whom? Put sir, comma, and then put your question properly. See, the question is package if AWS is not there. What does it mean? No, I'm just trying to understand. If AWS is not installed, then? If AWS is not installed, then? What is the question? So if I understood your question, if AWS is not installed on your laptop, can you run AWS commands? If you want to run AWS commands, you need to install AWS package. What we need to do for Babu, Mishra? Okay, clearly I told you. Guys, in your laptop, what do you need to install? AWS CLI.msi file. I download it also. I don't know where you were at that time. Do you see this? AWS CLI. Do you see this here, everyone? Open the folder. And do you see AWS CLI? Open this. Double click on this. It's already installed on my laptop. I mean, on this machine. Do you see this? As it says that, okay, let's welcome to AWS CLI command line. We have to set up. Wait, compute space requirement. It is taking it. Let's wait for a second. If we click on next, yes, it will install. Once you install this, then only you can run the AWS commands. If you're asking if AWS is not installed, then what? Commands will not run. Simple. Any other questions? So will you able to do this? So, okay, I'll write for you also. Good way. Your task is like this. Okay. What you need to do? Launch. First step is launch EC2 instance. Next step, log into EC2 instance and install AWS CLI. This is a good way. Okay. What is the third step? Create a IAM role and attach to the EC2 instance. Next, attach the IAM role to the EC2 instance. Number 5, then log into the EC2 instance. You already logged in and run the CLI commands. Got it? In this case, in good way, do you need to configure the keys? You no need to configure keys because you are attaching roles to the EC2 instance. Okay, na? So what are your tasks now? So your task, there is no exploring task here in this. So the task is, can you do the bad way that I showed? Can you do the good way that I told with the roles? And from your laptop also. That meaning your Windows. From my Windows laptops also, I showed how to install. And you know how to configure it also on your Windows laptop. Yes or no? Do you see this? It is asking now. Click on next, accept, next, install. This is how you install it on your Windows machine. Will you able to do this, Nana? AWS CLI? So you are asking, no, CLI. So if you know how to set up this, you can run any command, you can execute anything. Any questions? Online, any questions? Super. So, okay. I want everyone to put a message in the chat. What was your latest task that you have done? Everyone, I want everyone to put it in the chat. What was your latest task? Very good. Everyone, guys, don't sit quiet, please. Everyone. Okay. Apurva, you need to come up, speed up, Apurva. So most 90% of people, they have done EFS. EFS meaning that was the latest task only. Very good. And some of few percentage, they were on S3. In S3, which task? Write down S3 walas. Please put your S3 task. Which is the task that you are doing on S3? S3 guys. Are you doing course, life cycle? Okay. Access point, exploring topic, correct? Okay. Good. So yes, it will be having only read only, Akhil. That is common behavior. Good. I think everyone are up to date. Just only EFS is pending. EFS is very simple. And replication task is optional for you. It's not mandatory. But in real time, that will be mostly read only, I think. Okay. So if you replicate it, it will be read only. You cannot write it because it is replica. It is replica of your primary. So primary is your Mumbai and secondary is your that one. So it will be read only. So no problem. So complete this and you have your CLI also in your bucket. Guys, I'm little bit worried because there are lots of practicals adding in you. So please be up to date so that every day you will get the practicals. Okay. Super guys. Very good. Can you take the screenshot of this? Let me know once done. Super. Can you give the final CC for today? CC will smile, please. Nice. Great. So that is